And this is Thomas Grant with an interview here up here at Indian Lake, the Indian Lake region, Russell's Point, Ohio, with Amy. She's the owner and operator of LuLu's of the lake, or at the lake. LuLu's at the lake. How are you doing, Amy?
Good.
So as we know, Amy has been very active up here since the tornado happened. And I think it's important to get your contribution to this community and to the rebuilding efforts known.
Thank you.
So to begin with, Amy, where are you from?
I'm from Lima.
Lima, Ohio?
Yep.
So, you're married with kids.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been in the restaurant business?
Oh God, forever. Growing up, my grandparents owned a local dairy, and so my grandma and I, it was always kind of a joke that we wanted to do a restaurant, and I just really, truly enjoyed the food industry and meeting the families and watching them grow up and being able to provide a service that was unique. And
Right.
I just loved the diner style. And
Kind of like the old school.
Yeah,
You're my
exactly.
age, like Mel's Diner, that kind of environment.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I can remember my grandparents taking us to a restaurant in Lima called The Huddle. And it was the joke when I moved back. I went to Toledo, that's where I met my husband. We had our 3 boys, and then we just packed up and left and came back to
Really?
my hometown, Lima. And I remember everyone asking me, "What are you doing? You're crazy."
Right.
And I just said, I'm gonna live the rest of my life wondering what if we don't just do it.
Open a
And then,
restaurant.
and I said I wanted to bring the Huddle back. The Huddle was an old school family diner, and
Right.
I just wanted that concept, and I wanted to bring it back to the Lima area, and
So
I've been able to do that.
What year did you start your first restaurant?
2010.
2010. That's which location in Lima was the original?
So that was the West Side location, was our very first location on Spencerville Road.
Okay.
In the plaza across from the Woodlawn Cemetery. And then we purchased our East Side location. And after that, we went to Bluffton. And a few years later, we went to Walpock. And we thought we were done until I got this genius idea. I was approached about an idea to come to the lake, and I love the history of the lake. I love hearing about the old amusement park, how this used to be where people walked up and down the little strip and families could gather, and I want to bring that back. I want to be part of that. So.
As a child,
So
did
here we
you
are.
spend a lot of weekends up here?
Yeah, my grandparents actually, the little blue roof condos over here, my grandparents actually started off with a condo over there, and then my parents bought it from them, and now my parents have a place on Long Island. We camped here when we had our boys, and then we purchased a place here too. So.
Okay. How long ago did you guys purchase a place up here?
We just got our place last year. Our first year open, we camped here,
Okay.
and I made a lot of drives back and forth. I slept a lot of nights in my office until we got a campsite, but
Wow.
yeah.
So what year did you open this one here up here at the lake?
It was the 2022 season.
So you said it was a genius idea.
Yeah.
What was that idea? You just thought it would be a good thing up here to
Sure.
have?
Yeah. No, I just my dad sings around the lake, and I can just always remember him being like, "Oh, come bring the boys to see me," and I just never felt like the establishments were geared more towards family. I just felt like they were more the bar atmosphere, and me being a mom of 4 boys, I just felt like we needed something that was a little bit more family friendly, and we welcome families all the time. Any
Right.
given day, I mean, we have magic shows, we do karaoke, the kids get up and sing. Any given Saturday night when we have a band, you'll see kids on the dance floor, and that's what it's geared to.
So this isn't just a restaurant.
No, absolutely.
It's like a community
Oh, yeah.
center,
Oh,
a
heck yeah.
family gathering place.
Yeah, we have a bounce house in the back. Like,
Wow.
the whole point has always been, I don't want people to feel like they came to the lake, but they have their kids, so we have to stay at the campsite and we have to all sit around the campfire.
Right.
That's not what it's about. It's about getting out and having fun and seeing the entertainment And just because you have kids, I don't think that it should limit families to what they can do.
So this was,
we got everything here.
Was this the inspiration behind your other stores, is your other restaurants
So
as well?
my other restaurants are just diners and open from 6
Oh, really?
a.m. Yeah, they're only open from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m.
So this is a special location.
This is a special location.
Now, you said you came up here in 2022 seasons when you opened. How have you been received in the community?
I'm the new girl in town, and that's fine. I mean, coming into a new area, you always know people are going to have to get used to you. We've always been welcomed with open arms in the communities we've come to, because we did go to the Bluffton community and the Walpott community, and I think this was a little bit slower, I want to say, maybe a little bit. Our very first season was weeds. There were the weeds. So for us, that was our learning curve, because we got to get used to like the season and what to expect. And it probably wasn't a bad thing for us, because we could kind of get our bearings. And then last year was an amazing season. We had a lot of fun. We learned a lot of things from our first season that we could bring into our second season. People have definitely gotten to know us. They know that we're gonna bring good entertainment, we're gonna have fun, everyone is welcome. And I think people were so used to the other places that they went that we weren't on the list or what have you. A lot of people just didn't know about us, or say, oh, I heard somebody bought it, but I didn't know who it was or what it was or what have you. And so they hadn't come here. And now that everything with the tornadoes happened, we've been able to create so many friendships and now all these relationships.
Right. So you mentioned the tornado, March 14th. If you don't mind, I mean, what were you doing that evening? Were you here?
Well, that's a funny story. We actually saw a break in the weather, my husband and I both had our shifts covered, and we're like, oh, let's run to our house in West Virginia and spring clean it.
Oh.
Yeah. So we made the 6-hour drive to West Virginia to spring clean our house and get it all situated, because we knew we were going into the lake season, and we're like, hey, let's have that cabin all ready, and so we can focus on lake season and we don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
So you left the day of the tornado before it happened?
And we got there and it hit, and I can remember, and where our house is, we have internet service because we pay to have them bring internet service, but if we leave our house, it's a good hour until we can get any service again, because we're in between two mountain ranges. So we knew that if we left the house, we weren't going to get any notifications or anything for an hour. So we literally just sat in the house and waited it out just to hear what was going on. And we had a lot of first responders. We've made a lot of friends in the community, and so many people were trying to check on the restaurant for us and couldn't get through because it was blocked over here and right there.
Right.
So they could see the back of our building, but they couldn't see anything in the front. But they knew how much destruction had gone on. So of course we're getting all the messages like, this is gone and this is gone. And
so you probably had a lot of uncertainty.
oh yeah. And we're like, so right away we just start checking on our staff, and I knew a couple in particular stay in trailers, and the one I was like, get out right now, go to my lake house. I sent her over to the north side of the lake to our house to stay. We did not hear about our restaurant until about midnight, that it was still standing.
When were you guys able to make the trip back up to?
We immediately, we left early the next day.
Okay, so kind of walk me through your impressions of when you first got back up here.
Wow. So we knew that our building was standing. We knew that there was a need, and we were going to do anything that we could. That's just, I can remember my husband looking at me, and my husband, I'm usually in the stores, and he's the behind the scenes, the books and all of that. So he keeps it all grounded. But he says to me, he's like, we're on our way. I mean, we've got 6 hours to think about this and be like, okay, what's going to happen? What are we walking into? So I, of course, have, you know, it's daybreak. I'm seeing a couple of the pictures and I'm just like, oh my goodness. So I immediately, knowing that we had a structure, I'm like, we'll take care of whoever we need. Come to find out, in the meantime, I make a post on Facebook that said, anybody that can at any of our locations, please bring supplies. We will pick them all up. We will take them to the Indian Lake location and we will disperse them from our parking lot at Indian Lake to whoever needs them. So I just put that post out there thinking like, okay, we'll gather some stuff. So we drove straight from West Virginia, didn't stop in Lima or anything. We drove straight here and it was insane. Like my husband knew right from the rip, he's like, you know, I know we're gonna do stuff to help the community, you know, reel it in, you know, just be conscious of what we do, whatever. And once we got here, it was a whole nother story.
Kind of overwhelming.
It was overwhelming, but I think I'm good under pressure, so I definitely like went into like
action mode.
Oh yeah,
what can I do?
100%. I called my neighbor and I'm like, God love her. So I call my neighbor Cindy, she's retired, and I say to her, I said, Cindy, the building's still standing. We're gonna feed the people. And she's just like, I'm not good in the kitchen. I'm like, you're not good in the kitchen, but you are good with the donations. I'm like, you are in charge. I'm like, you are in charge of the tent. We need to make sure that we're feeding, that I will feed the people inside. You take care of the people outside. Get whatever things they need and tell me what they need and I will get them. So I just kind of thought that, you know, we're gonna get these supplies and everything's gonna be great. And then all of a sudden my phone starts going off because like I said, we're driving back from West Virginia. So we had about an hour where we had no cell phone service and all of a sudden we get service on our phones, my husband and I, like they're going insane. And I start looking at my phone and supplies are stacked at our restaurants, every single one of them, from floor to ceiling. Customers couldn't get in. Like, it was insane. So then I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Like, we thought we would have a friend with a 20-foot enclosed trailer do a round to every store and pick up the supplies. He only made it to one store.
Wow. This is all from one
This
post.
is only all from one post. I wonder how many I got. It was insane though. I couldn't even put into words the pride that you have. Like, I was so overwhelmed with pride about the communities that we're in, and then I was like, that they stepped up and did all the things that they did when all of this went down. I couldn't even believe it. It was overwhelming.
Right.
But called Delpha's Tent and Awning, and of course by this time it's Friday. They're, you know, done for the day.
Right.
They have all their weekend stuff up. And I realized like just how many supplies we have. And I'm like, do you guys have a tent? And he's like, the guys have already left for the day. And then he calls me right back and he's like, the guys are turning around and they're coming back.
Wow.
So Delpha's Tent and Awnings guys were off the clock, turned around, came back, got a tent, brought it here. And by the time we got here on Friday, a tent was set up. In the meantime, an electric company had called my Walk Diner and was like, does Amy need electric? And Kira, of course, is like, I would assume, I'm like, she's gonna lose everything. And we didn't have generators and whatever. Before we had even gotten here, they were already here.
Wow.
They saved every cooler. We nothing.
Didn't lose anything.
We didn't lose one thing.
Wow.
One item. Because they were here before we even got here and had commercial generators set up to run. We could run everything in the back kitchen. So they ran every cooler. They ran everything for me.
When you got here, you were ready to rock and roll.
Oh,
because of
beyond it, and because of everybody else,
Right.
I was like, I couldn't even believe it.
I think that probably is a testament to the influence and respect you have from people that eat at your establishments and know you. I think that's definitely, if you weren't a good person, they wouldn't have stepped up for you like that. You know?
It was definitely
a little humbling for you.
A little bit, yeah. We hit 15,000 posts.
Wow.
Or
All from that one
just
post
asking
for donations. Now, you kind of led into that. That's good. I mean, can people still pick up donations here?
Yes, 100%. If you look, okay, so after Easter, we closed down the tent. We ended up doing 8 truckloads, 8 trailer loads from our restaurant locations that were donated from the outside communities. So there were 8 trailer loads brought in on top of just private donations that people had made or come to me, and we got monetary donations that people gave towards gas cards, stuff like that. We had a customer from the West Side location donate a generator that we were able to use and then turn over for someone else to use. And it was so overwhelming and humbling to see how much everybody stepped up when somebody was in need. And it didn't matter if they knew me, it didn't matter. They just knew that it was a whole community and that.
Sometimes it's kind of sad that it takes a tragedy for people
I
to come
know,
together.
that's what we say. We've met all these people, and you just met Robin.
Yeah.
I've met Robin when she was here for a bachelorette party. Her home was hit really hard.
Oh, wow.
And she came in, sad that first day, and she comes and sees me every day. We tell each other we love each other. Like,
Right.
We've created these relationships with these people that when they've been at the lowest of their lows, we wanted to be there for them because we would want somebody to be there for us. So that just became our goal.
So where does this, I mean, obviously, you have a very giving nature.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think that comes from?
So my grandparents owned a local dairy, and I can always remember my grandma kind of doing things, but just not really talking about it. And it wasn't until I came back to Lima and a girl I had gone to high school with came into my restaurant after we opened and says to me, "Did you know that your grandparents took care of us after my dad passed away?" And I was like, "Oh no, whatever." She's just like, "You never mentioned it. Like, you never told people." And I was like, "It wasn't my place." Like, she was like, and for years, my grandparents helped take care of them because it was a young family, and the father passed away suddenly, unexpected, from a heart condition or something. But she knew of the family and passing from a friend from church, and so she just always made sure that they had stuff and just would randomly make sure the stuff was there, and never spoke about it, never said who she was. But then when my grandmother passed away, the people from church said that was the woman who did that for all those years.
Wow.
And she ended up realizing that she was my grandmother, and that she had known me the whole time, and we had gone to school and been in all these classes and all this stuff together the whole time.
So this definitely comes from your family history.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
So let's kind of lead that back into, you get up here, you realize your business is is still functionable. It's not damaged.
Well, we didn't have electric. Well, we had the electric just back in the kitchen.
Okay.
No gas was turned on. But we do have catering equipment that runs off of propane. So we got our other son that has a truck, and we had him load the trailer up from our barn in Lima with all the catering stuff that all runs off of propane.
Okay.
So we got all of that stuff here. And so that's how we started.
Start cooking on propane.
We started cooking on propane. That very first night, we just made burgers. Whatever we had, we're like just pulling stuff. Let's just make it and go. So we did that, and then so that was the very first night. And then that morning, we pulled a late night, just making sure everybody was fed. And then the very next morning, our lake house didn't have power or anything. And I'm like, no big deal. We're still going there. We're still sleeping. Well, my wheels are turning. I'm like, oh, I gotta do something. I don't know. And I just got up, and my husband's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm cold, and I can't sleep because I gotta do something. And so he's like, what are you gonna do? I said, I'm turning our LuLu's van into a coffee cart. And he's like, what are you doing? So I took our catering van, and it's a commercial van, like minivan that has like sliding doors,
Yeah.
and it's all completely wrapped in our LuLu's
Okay.
logo thing. And I just created this like mobile meal machine, I guess. It was like
A little coffee
yeah,
mobile?
yeah. So that very first night, it was like 4:00 in the morning, and I just started driving around, and I had snacks in there, and I had the coffee, and that was the very first meal. I just took like whatever I could, and I can remember getting down to the street, and the cops were just like, "Oh my gosh, we needed this." And technically, no, they're not supposed to be letting people through, but they were like, "We're gonna let you through. Like, people need you." And that was like when it first like kind of hit, and I was just like, "All right, like here we go." So I drove on in, and the spotlights are shining down, and they're still doing search and recovery, and people were struggling, and I was just like, "Who needs coffee? Who needs snacks? Like, load them up. Like, let's go." And they were like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Do you have a thermos? Like, fill your thermoses. Like, you know." And that's how it started. And I didn't realize what that first couple days did until about a week later. And I'm driving through, and we're making our rounds and dropping off meals because we knew a lot of people couldn't get out, and we could still get around. And people got to know us and knew that we were bringing snacks and drinks and coffees and hot meals. And so we were allowed to go down in. And I hear somebody, there she is. And I'm like, what? And they turn around, and I was like, oh, hi guys. And they're like, you saved us that first day. We were dying, and we were giving up. And you came with that coffee, and we were like, there's hope.
Wow. I'm sure when you left that night, that wasn't, you probably didn't think at all.
No, I didn't think anything of it. Like, I just thought I was just doing what I would want somebody to do for me. So it was like, whatever.
It had to make you feel pretty special.
Yep.
So, and then that kind of morphed into, once you were able to operate this a little more, to just, you know, where did it come to, I'm going to supply meals.
That very first day.
So that was your plan?
The very first day, it was, you could come to LuLu's at any time and get a hot meal. Because I just felt like they needed a little bit of normalcy. Meat and potatoes is normal. Meat and potatoes is comfort. When all else fails, like...
At least you can hear have a safe place to eat.
Yeah. So that's how it started. And we shut down that one room. We, of course, had electric. We got it warm and toasty in there, and that became the community room. And under normal circumstances, we would have never opened that room. That room's only open on Friday and Saturday nights.
Okay.
And for the Sunday buffet. So during the week, we've always shut that room down. We shut the electric, you know, like we're not running everything in that room. And it just became the community room. Like, everybody could gather, everybody could sit at the table, see each other, talk to each other. It took a few days, but people started opening up, and they started talking and telling their stories, and then we could see, okay, who do we need to help?
Right. I'm sure for them, it may have been comforting to be around other people who are going through what they're going through.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people here, you know, I'm sorry, but if you're not living it,
You don't know.
you have no idea.
No.
And I'm not from the area. I can see it, but I didn't live it. You guys were living it.
When it happened and it went down, so even my boys, yes, they came here, they helped, they brought the loads and all this stuff, and I said to them, my one son says, Mom, I'll just stay here and cook. I don't need to go and see it. And I was just like, no, you really should. I said, it's different. I've seen the pictures. Oh, those pictures look like wind damage compared to the real life, and compared to seeing those people and getting that hug and seeing the tears and the devastation. Like, it's nothing.
They say a picture's worth 1,000 words, but you're right. A picture does nothing compared to seeing it with your own eyes. It's just, it's unspeakable, really. And it's something that you really, I think after you see it, you wish you never had to see that.
Yeah.
Because it's the
I
devastation
said, we'll
is
never
crazy.
be the same. None of us will ever be the same.
So, I mean, throughout all of this, how many meals roughly have you served Do you have any idea? Any
I
clue?
saw that question.
Yeah.
No clue.
No clue.
I didn't care. Once my husband saw it, he just looked at me and said, do whatever you have to do, I'll figure it out.
Right.
So we knew right from the beginning our other stores would help us figure it out. And I just kind of set that in my mind, was like, we'll figure it out, it'll be okay. And I didn't understand the magnitude of people that needed help and the magnitude of workers that there were.
I was going to say,
Because I started to feed anyone affected, any first responders, any workers, and that was hundreds. I mean, when we were counting to-go boxes and plates that first day, it was like 900.
wow.
900. Easter was 1,200
Holy mackerel.
because we were breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
That's how many meals were going on. And it was like, you saw that it was needed, and
Yeah.
it was not stopping.
I know. I did some time with the Red Cross up here and worked at the shelter.
Yeah.
And your food was there. I mean, I honestly, because I'm not from the area,
Yeah.
I heard LuLu's. What the heck is
Yeah,
that place?
yeah.
I've never heard of you before, honestly. And every meal we got said, "Oh, this came from LuLu's." So I thought, who is this?
Yeah.
Who is this place? You know, what is this place? Because most people get into business to make a profit.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're doing this,
Yeah,
knowing
we all get in the business to make a profit, but let's be honest. When the street got their power back, and I opened up, and I was the first to say, "Hey, I had people that knew me from other communities. I had a reefer truck. I had all of these things. Indian Head came and brought me food so it wouldn't go to waste. We fed the people with it." The other businesses opened, and I stayed closed. I wasn't ready.
Okay.
I don't know how many things I burnt because I would walk into the community room, know a timer was going off in my pocket, but I could not walk away.
Talking to the people here.
I had to hug them. I had to be there for them. I'd come back in, there'd be burnt biscuits in the oven. I'd have fries in the deep fryer, and they're burnt, and I didn't care.
Right.
And that's when I knew I wasn't ready to open my doors.
Right.
It wasn't time yet. So I remained closed for the first few weeks.
When did you open officially?
After Easter.
After Easter. And how is that going for you?
Great. I mean, I still have my moments because I'm still running both. So
Right.
we've continued with our meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner provided every single day. It's still a little bit of a pull because I've moved some people around, so I'm running this kitchen and all the meals in there. So every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I personally made.
You personally made everyone.
I've personally made
Wow.
every single breakfast, lunch, and dinner since the very first day.
I mean, and people are still coming here every day.
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
it's more than just the food.
Yes.
I think it's the atmosphere. I think it's your presence and let's talk
You know-
about your employees real quick.
Yes.
I mean, I know they've had to have worked
yeah.
a lot of hours. I've heard stories that
They've
people
stepped
from other
up.
locations
Yes.
have come down to help
Yeah.
this location. Like, tell us a little bit about your wonderful employees.
So we've had people come in, we've met people, then they'll start volunteering. We've had people come in. My employees were amazing right from the beginning. You have to understand, you know that you're out of work right now. And it was my choice not to open our doors. And so that weighed very heavy on my heart because I knew that I was affecting them. So from the very first week, I said, no one will lose hours. Come and you'll do something. And some people I paid from out of my other stores. I had some amazing friends, close friends, that came to me and knew where my heart was and was like, we're just gonna give you the money and you do whatever you need to do with it. So I made sure that my cash tip people were taken care of because I knew those are moms. They're not gonna be able to do that.
My goodness.
So because of people that knew what I was doing. They were like, here you go. Take care of, you know who to take care of, and you know where it needs to go. And
It's almost like the whole pay it forward thing,
Yeah.
you know.
100%.
And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, this is a living representation of what kindness and a giving nature can accomplish.
Yeah.
You have fed hundreds of people.
So the first couple weeks, I didn't answer my phone. I didn't answer that phone. Obviously, it's been ringing off the hook. I didn't answer that phone. I just turned it off. I didn't answer my cell phone. I didn't answer any phones. I did respond to a couple friends that like kept responding or, you know, what have you. And one in particular was a band that sings here, and she's also part of a Christian group. Her name's Kelly, and she's like, Amy, I'm coming. Like, she's like, you need help. Why aren't you asking for help? And I'm like, because Kelly, I'm gonna figure it out. It's okay. And she said something to me that just stuck with me. And she's like, Amy, by yourself, you can help and change the lives of 5 people. Start asking for help, and you can change 50.
It's a very good way of looking at it.
And I'm like, okay. So that was a Sunday that she came after church. And that Monday I started answering the phone.
And has that been a blessing too?
Ohio Ag called, knew that my grandfather owned a dairy, and said, here, Ryder Dairy's donating all your milk. Cooper Farm's donating all your eggs. 8 pallets of pork are coming. And all this stuff just started coming.
So I mean, this has kind of started something
Yeah.
within the area.
So I've been able to feed everybody and send things home and fill people's kitchens by myself.
That's a beautiful story. I mean, I didn't know.
It was insane. Like, I had to get a reefer truck, refrigerated
I've seen
semi
it. Is it
back
still
there.
out there?
It's filled.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Really?
I'll take you
Yeah.
out there.
We'll get some pictures
It's
of that.
insane.
Yeah. Wow.
It's meat. That's just
Full of meat
Full of
that
meat.
you've received from
Yes.
people wanting to
Yes.
help the community.
200 to 300 cases of turkey alone. 150 cases of chicken. Like, I had a customer that had a pig, and he's just like, Amy, I have this pig, and she's a big girl. And he brings her to me, like, literally in 4 garbage bags. And then I'm like, oh my goodness. So then here's another customer. He's like, you know, I hurt my back, but I absolutely want to help. I can't physically help out there. What can I do to help you? I got a big smoker, Amy. And I'm like, I got a big pig. I got a big pig.
Right.
I'm like, take this pig and smoke it for me. And he took the pig and he smoked it. And this is how it just got to be. We just all started helping each other and saying, this is what we need to do. And so it's not just me. There's so many people that I can't do it without.
Right.
Like, customers came in, and that first day I'm like, I saw them one of the very first days, and their vacation house. They're from Cincinnati, but the vacation house was damaged substantially. And they came in here to eat, and they said, this has been really rough. Can we get some alcohol? And I'm like, as much as, yes, I feel like we need it, I can't have that on my conscience because we're still operating chainsaws and stuff. And like, I just don't know where the moral boundary is right there yet. So I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I can yet. But so I just got to talking to them, and then they'd come in the next day. They kind of saw me stressing out, and I'm like, I don't know. I opened a can of worms, and they're like, what'd you do? And I said I was throwing Easter for the whole community. And they're like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I just want these kids to be so spoiled. I go, and I don't want them to think about the tragedy. I don't want them to associate every Easter with sadness and the anniversary of the tornado, because that's what's going to happen. They don't have a house, they don't have a yard. If they do have a yard, there's debris and crap in it, there's nails, there's what have you. So I just set out to make this like Easter thing and made this post, and it got larger than life. And I'm like, I don't know what the heck I just did. And so these girls, their family just like stepped in, and they're like, okay, you take care of the food, we'll take care of the kids. And I'm like, what? I don't even know you.
Right.
So Jess, Jen, Teresa, they became my best friends. They became like my everything. Like they did everything out there for the kids. I didn't have to do anything. Nothing. They told me what posts to make or what have you, and we had over 600 Easter baskets.
Are you kidding me?
They're gone. I mean, we had a few straggling ones at the end, but
You had over
everything.
600
Yes.
Easter baskets.
yes.
On top of feeding everybody.
Yes.
Would you say
We
that
had
was
Easter egg
1,200?
hunts. They were the most amazing Easter egg hunts I've ever seen. We had to fill garbage bags for the kids because that's how much stuff they had to take home. I mean, packs of bubbles, stuffed animals. There was a group of little old ladies that hand sewed stuffed animals. And we were able to give those to the kids. Like, insane amounts of stuff.
So this community has really come together, and that's the essence of the rebuilding process.
Oh, 100%.
They say there's an old saying, well, it takes a village to raise a child.
Oh.
Well, I think it takes a village to repair a community.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are living that example every day up here.
Oh, 100%.
And I think you're probably a pretty humble girl.
Oh, yeah.
Lady, I'm sorry, I'm going to say that.
No, you're fine. No, I look at everything that I have every day, and I'm like, without that diner, I don't have it. So I feel like I owe everything to this diner. I owe everything. Without the community, I don't have a diner. So I've got to make sure the community is okay, and that's the only way to do it. Somebody said, hold on, I even wrote it down what they said. Don't let your business suffer to take care of the community. And I'm like, well, without the community, I don't have a business.
Right. Well, someone told you that in kind of a negative way, kind of?
Well, just because I was doing so much for free and
Right,
like, oh,
yeah.
you can't really possibly be doing this. And I'm like, yeah, I can for now. I'm like, it'll come back to me. I'm not worried.
Okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
But I'm like,
That's not your concern right
No,
now. Your
it
concern is
wasn't.
helping people.
yeah.
And you're kind of, right now, you seem kind of like the guidepost that other people are coming to, donating food, donating, items that they can come up here and
Yes.
get for free. You're
We're
kind of that
providing
person.
resources too. So
What
in-
resources?
So in talking to people, we've been able to hear their stories. And it was like kind of a joke. And the one guy comes to me the one day and he says to me, Amy, it was going to be a cold night, and it was like day 20, and he still did not have electric, and he's still running off a generator, and it was going to be chilly that night, and he didn't have enough gas money. And he said that somebody said to privately say something to me. He's like, Amy will figure it out. And I'm like, Carl, let's talk about this. I said, you come here with wet hair every night. And he's like, yeah, I still don't have electric. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? So then we start asking questions and we start talking. And he's like, it was this, and now it was the pole. And so I've been keeping track of it. Well, I knew somebody who knew somebody. And I'm like, hey, Carl, that's 3 roads behind Spend a Day. And his electric was turned on the next day.
Wow. I'm sure that
And
was-
Carl's just like, wow, you get stuff done. I'm like, yeah, we get stuff done. And if we can't get it done, we're going to ask, and we're going to get it done. Hi, Miss Robin. It's the attorney, and she probably just walked.
Okay.
You probably crossed her.
Okay, all right.
Yep. Yes.
I've seen that post on Facebook
Yes.
about
So people started opening up, and Carl was one in particular. And I said to Carl, Carl, what happened? And then it became my dorky notebook. So every family has a page, and every family has a story, and we just started knocking it out, one family at a time. Who needs what? What can we get? Like, here's appliance repair. Here's their business wasn't insured. Let's get them applied for the business stuff. So it just became one family at a time, and they were so proud. And I'm like, why didn't you ask for help? Because somebody's worse off than us. I heard it all day long, and I said, no, you deserve it just as much. Time to start doing it. So that's when I started stepping up, and I'm like, I made the appointment for Carl to go to the Mark because Carl needed his windshield fixed, and he wasn't going to do it. So I made the appointment. I'm like, go get it done. He comes back, he's like, Amy, they gave me the check for the car repair place to fix my windshield. I said, I told you, like, you deserve to have that windshield fixed. Like, it's not your fault that the tornado came.
Right.
So use the resources, and let's, we all deserve them.
Yeah, that's why they're there.
Hi. I think they're doing it back there in that room. Uh-huh.
So it looks like you
one of my-
get some stuff going on, get ready to go on here.
So one of my big things was, so they brought me in to the United Way because I've met all these people in the community, and I could give a community perspective. What are the needs? And so I was able to express some of the needs and some of the things that they can give people funding for. But one of the things I was most passionate about was getting them legal representation, somebody that they can talk to. A lot of days, people are bringing me their papers. Like, here, read this. Like, I don't know. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to tell them something wrong.
Right.
But they trust me. So I'm like, I need help. So we got some legal representation and people that can answer the questions for them. So that's what's here tonight.
Wow.
But we have a billboard, or we have a big bulletin board in there. We have our laptops that we had an 80-year-old man that never applied for his stuff because he didn't know how to use the internet.
Okay.
So we're like, let us do it for you.
Right.
So we did it for him. So that's just what it became. Like, let's take care of them.
So it's not just giving the food.
Yeah.
I mean,
No. The food is like the smallest portion of it.
It's almost like there's just such an atmosphere of love and support and family.
Yeah, so we're not going to close this room. I don't know how many people I hug and tell I love them every single day. Every single day.
It's beautiful, especially in a world that's kind of full of negativity a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
These kind of things.
These people are they're like my family, and they will be.
It will be filled.
And it's sad that it took the tragedy, but the one lady the other day, she said, if I didn't lose my house, I wouldn't have met you. She's like, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And when she said that to me, I was just like, whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. So, in closing, Amy, you kind of got me there on that one.
Yeah, it was that woman that you just saw.
Really? So, if you could, give a message to the area, what would that message be?
I think the biggest message is that Indian Lake is so strong, and we're going to rebuild. We're going to be just fine. Is it going to take time? Yes, it is, but all good things do. I think the biggest thing is that we just need to remember that we need to be there for each other. And if you don't have the voice, find someone who has the voice for you. And I keep telling people, I'll be that voice. I'm okay with that.
That's very good. Amy, it's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you.
And it's honestly, it's an honor to meet with you.
Thanks.
And
Appreciate
we'll be in
that.
touch.
Awesome.
For sure. So have a good day.
Thanks.